Your job as the entrepreneur is to optimize for the 1% that will and nurture the other into becoming that 1%. What's up everyone, I'm Molina. I built Tweet Hunter with a free Twitter account and sold it for $1.4 million. And I'm here to show you Twitter monetization. Today we're gonna cover 5 reasons why you may have a big account, but you don't have a big bank account. And it happens to everybody because I had like 70,000 followers and I met this guy with 900 followers. I was making the same amount of money as him. I had 70 times his audience and I was still making the same amount of money. And that's when I really learned, maybe likes ain't cash. And I had to shift how I thought about audience building and monetization completely. And now these are the 5 main lessons that I got. So in this video, first we're going to cover the 5 main reasons. That's the what is preventing you from making money. Then we're gonna cover why that is. And then we're gonna cover how you can fix that. Let's get it started. Number 1 reason why you're not making money from your audience is because you act like a low status account. Now, likes are cool, but likes ain't cash. Likes are power. People see likes and they see the big account and they get a little bit of respect for it. They kind of put you in a different bucket than everybody else. The problem is you don't act like you belong to that bucket. And here's what I mean by that. You may use emojis in your conversations. You may use exclamation points. You may be like too overly impressed with what's going on. You look too desperate when you're going for the sale. And then when you talk to people, you don't act like you're busy. So there's like a big discrepancy between who they thought you were and who you actually are. And that's what makes them disrespect you. That's what makes them not look at you like you're a high value account and lowers your status. So in that sense, I know Naval says don't play status game, play positive sum games. Like, well, sales is status. The person who has the highest status eventually has the advantage. I believe you should play status and use it as like an advantage for what you want to do, which is make the money. So I would recommend send shorter messages. Don't act as impressed. Have emotional control. Like Twitter and audience isn't a journal. It's a way to do business. So stop tweeting like your personal opinions and getting overly angry at stuff. Leave that for the people who are on Twitter for politics and drama. You're here on Twitter to make money, so act like it. And when you meet somebody that's big or somebody tells you,
hey, I got this achievement,
don't act like you're overtly impressed with it. So for example, instead of saying that's cool, say something like I see. Instead of saying, oh my God, that's awesome, say interesting. And if somebody like flexes on you, here's a little trick. You could say something like, that's not a bad starting point. Like act like you are high status because your account will back you up for that. The numbers are there, right? You just sometimes forget about it. Number 2, no proof of skill. And this is big. People won't buy because you are good at writing tweets. People buy because you're good at something. You're good, period. So what are you good at? Let's say you're a fitness coach. People don't buy because you look good. That's a reason they will go into your page. That's something that like calls their attention, but they will eventually buy because you're good at getting other people in shape. Let's say you're an agency and you're trying to attract e-commerce stores. If you talk about how you grew your agency, you're only going to attract other agency bros. You're not going to attract e-com stores. There's a difference between saying, here's my first client, here's how much I charged him, and saying, here's my first store I worked with, here's how much I made them. Fit the bait to the fish you want to catch. And the best bait you could possibly have, they're not threads, they're not auto DMs, it's actually proof of skill. You're showing what you're good at. So people think that what makes you money on Twitter are tweets, threads, auto DMs, bio, profile pic. It's actually none of that. It's actually proof of competence. It's skill, it's case studies, it's testimonials, it's A to B. It's undeniable proof that no matter how small the problem, you are king and you're the best at solving it. So I would love for you to make the shift of how do I go viral to how do I prove my competence? How do I make people realize that no matter what problem they're struggling with, I can solve it? Think about it. There's 2 coaches. There's coach A that talks about everything. He just wants to go viral. He'll have a few controversial tweets and they'll get 1,000 likes. Coach B, what he does is he only talks about the problem he solves, the solutions he offers, and the testimonials from the clients he's worked with. He may get horrible engagement, but which one would you rather hire? The guy going viral or the guy that can solve a problem? And that's when you really realize likes and cash. You showing what you're good at, that's cash. That's why sometimes the tweets that gets the worst engagement, they're the ones that make you the most money because most people are not your customers. And that's fine. Less than 1% of your audience is going to buy from you. And that's just the reality. reality. Your job as the entrepreneur is to optimize for the 1% that will and nurture the other into becoming that 1%. But some people are just not ready yet. That's why audience building is a long-term game. There's some people that are willing to buy today. And the way you get them to buy today is by proving that you're good at what you do. 3, you sound like everybody else. Your takes are all the same. You don't stand for something that other people disagree with. The things you want in the world are the same that everybody wants. It's the same positioning. There's like no big differentiator. Like if you took a random person from your audience today and you asked them from X, Y, and Z competition, what makes me different? And if they can't answer it, then you're in trouble. Marketing and audience building isn't so much about being better. It's more about being different. Like what sets you apart from your competition? And I'll give you an example with fitness. There's like millions of angles you could use with fitness. There's the blue sky, combat specialist fitness. There's the no diet. There's the keto. There's the paleo. There's the vegan. There's the one for pregnant moms. There's many different angles you could take for the same thing, because you got to realize people don't just buy because of your offer, but because of the path you're going to take them through. So the problem is the path you promise is the same as everybody else. It's the same email marketing. It's the same consulting method. It's the same fitness method. Like what makes you different? What separates you from your competition? The other day somebody told me,
JK, I feel like every single one of your tweets says like saying cash a different way.
And when he said it, I'm like, you got it, because that is exactly what I want to do. That's what I want my differentiator to be, that you don't need the big likes, the big account to make money. You can actually just monetize whenever you want. That is my differentiator. So if you can't answer what makes you different, what makes you think that your audience can, you're the one who has to come up with what makes you different, but you're not. Wrong network. So the people you hang out with, the people you talk to, all they talk about is engagement. The problem is you become your product of your environment. And because those guys are saying that, then you automatically associate that to victory. You think, hey, I got a viral tweet, I did well. What really matters is how much money you made at the end of the month. So the network is wrong. I actually live with a few Twitter entrepreneurs myself, Dakota and Dan, and the way they lived really changed the way I worked. So these guys woke up at like 6 or 7 a.m. I used to wake up at 9, and all they did, I'm not kidding you, all they did was they just walked, they trained, and they worked. That's all they did. So it gave me a certain work ethic that I didn't have before. Maybe you're not living with somebody that you work with, but you hang out with them every day online and you talk to them. Are the people you're hanging out with people who want money and to build businesses? Or are there people who want to go viral and that's it? Do you want a big account or do you want a big bank account? Your choice. And it starts with your network. 5th, lack of FileBound. So as big accounts, we assume sometimes that people need to come to us. We see the size of the account and we assume,
dude, it's so big, everybody's seeing it, eventually somebody will come.
When in reality, we don't realize we hold something as big accounts that other people don't, which is status. And that big status correlates when you go to the DMs and you message somebody, right? Because there's a big difference between a 5-follower account messaging you and a 5,000-follower account messaging you. We respond differently. People treat you differently. People see you differently. If you have the big account, that's not an excuse not to do any outbound. If anything, it's a great reason to do outbound because, and I'm telling you what my coach told me, I hired a sales coach and he saw my conversations and he said, dude, you're doing horribly, but because you get a big account, people are letting you down easy. And that was actually what happened. The conversations in hindsight were horrible. They were salesy, they were corny, they were pitchy, but nobody cared because the big account. So you have that power to a certain level as well. Just because you have a big account doesn't mean all your business will come inbound. You need to actually talk to people. You need to collect phone numbers. Maybe you'll call them. You gotta see who engages with your tweets because you never know where the next business might come from. If you actually go to your calendar right now and you set up 1 hour every day and you dedicate yourself for that 1 hour to actually talk to people, you'll have more money than you know what to do with. I promise you that. Everything works. The only thing that doesn't work is when you don't. This is why when people tell me,
I'm just figuring the offer out. I'm just figuring lead gen out.
I already know for a fact you're not figuring anything out. You're just procrastinating. You're not doing it. Because if you were doing it, then you wouldn't be figuring it out. Figuring it out is the same thing when a friend tells you, oh yeah, I'm gonna see if I go. If they tell you, I'll let you know, they're not going. And I had a friend, for years I told him about Twitter. He never did anything. 1 month, he got his car crashed by a bus. 1 week later, he got his laptop and his iPad stolen. And he got so pissed. He went back to his home and he just started sending DMs every day on his phone. 30 days later, he made $6,000 selling ghostwriting services. If you're not making enough money, then 99% of the time, you're not sending enough DMs either. These were the 5, but why do you have that? And I believe the why people have these problems, it's because of the bad beliefs they're instilled from the beginning. People who teach audience building teach follower accumulation. Follower accumulation is just attracting people who just kind of want to follow you and they're lurkers. But what happens when you focus so much on follower accumulation is you end up with a bunch of nothing. It's a bunch of people and they're never gonna buy from you. Not because they don't even want to, it's because they like literally can't, right? Because you're not attracting the right people. You're not fitting the baits to the fish you want to attract. The main way to fix this is to actually get your priorities straight. This requires kind of an ego death and you realizing, man, I've been on Twitter for months and my money hasn't grown since 3 months. How are you at 10,000 followers making less than $10,000 a month? It's not so much of a skill thing. It's more of a belief thing because the hard part is already done. All that's left is for you to accept that maybe you don't know everything. One side of the bridge, it's audience building. But if you want to build a bridge, you can't just build it from one side, you got to do it from 2. So if you combine audience building, which by the way, you already have it figured out, and you combine that with audience monetization, you win and you get it all. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to monetize your Twitter account, go to tweetsandclients.com. We'll get you sorted and finally make the money your account deserves. And remember, likes and cash.